Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Engineer's Blueprint for Skin Safe Adhesive Devices. My name is Jason Zajac. I'm the CEO and founder of the Tape Lab. Let's get going. I want to welcome everyone to an exploration of how wearable devices are revolutionizing healthcare with a focus on the indispensable role of skin-safe adhesives. In this presentation, we'll dive into the groundbreaking innovations by the Tape Lab that are enhancing the functionality and comfort of wearable medical devices. Discover how our expertise in adhesive technology is driving the future of healthcare, ensuring that devices stay securely in place while remaining gentle on the skin. Talking about the world of wearable tapes, when we start speaking with our clients about what's important to them, we ask a lot of questions. Mainly the questions surround four key topics. One is the longevity of the tape. How long does it need to last on the skin? The second, does it need to be water or sweat resistant? The third is the skin compatibility, to understand, is it going over a wound or on a safe, harmless area of the skin that's not ruptured or fractured? And then also asking the client how adaptable are they to design changes once we get through the list of questions. Speaking on longevity, it's really important to understand how long the tape needs to last on the skin. There are plenty of both short, medium, and long-term adhesives that will work. So when people say long-term, we always start with extended wear tapes, which now can go up to 28 days. We also want to make sure that we understand how long it's staying on the skin so we can securely attach the device to the skin for the intended period of time without it falling off, getting rattled, or possibly macerating the skin. The other thing we talk about, as I mentioned, is water resistance or sweat resistance. It's essential if wearables are going to be exposed to moisture, sweat, or water that we design them with the intended purpose of keeping them dry or on the skin. Both the device and the tie layer are important to know whether or not they're going to see moisture and where it's coming from. The next element we speak about is skin compatibility, which is critical to avoid irritation or allergic reactions. We always do find out what the demographic is of the clients or the intended clients are, because that can make a big impact whether you're in a dry climate or a very humid climate on how well the tape is going to stick and what kind of reactions it's going to cause on the skin. We also talk about and focus on hypoallergenic materials that are biocompatible and safe for the skin. Lastly, after we ask these questions, we start talking about design adaptations, right? Do we have to customize something for our adhesive and the carrier, or can we go something off the shelf? Are we integrating any features into the adhesive or into the device that need to be known up front to make sure that we meet the needs and conditions of the end user? Once we do that, we really focus on then the understanding of wearable tapes. We want to understand four different things. Is this going to be a home monitoring device that clients are going to be putting on and off and monitoring themselves? Is this going to be a clinical support device, meaning something in hospital? What are some of the key applications of the device? And once again, is this going to be a wound healing or wound care product going over an open sore, an open wound? Starting from the top with home monitoring, we need to understand what the home monitors are doing. Is it a device for CGM or constant glucose monitoring, blood pressure tracking, sleep analysis? Is this device empowering patients to manage chronic conditions for comfort from their homes? Really just diving into the actual end use of the product that we're trying to adhere to the skin. Talking about clinical support, if it's in hospitals, is the device used for real-time monitoring? Is it something that needs to make sure that it's always on the skin, under the skin? Is there a lancet that needs to always be working? Things that we may not necessarily think about up front, but knowing that ahead of time helps us design for the right application with the right adhesives and the right tie layers. Again, some of these clinical support applications can be the same as at home, but definitely monitored by the hospital staff. Some of the key applications that we see for this wearable device is our heart monitors, wearable trackers for heart rate, ECG, stuff that detects arrhythmias, as we mentioned earlier, and some of the out-of-hospital applications like CGM and fitness and metabolic health tracking. If it is a wound care solution, we need to find out, are they embedding sensors in the wound? how is it affecting healing, what are some of the rates that they need in terms of data collection, and how long is the wound dressing going to be on before needing to be changed. Wound care is much different than wearable device. Next, we'll talk about prototyping for success with our clients. And there's areas that we talk about with prototyping. It's not just about making the device, it's about making the device and understanding what that device needs to do, which leads us into testing. And then from the testing, is this going to be an OTC device, or is this going to go through the FDA 510K? Talking about what they need to do for market readiness, and then talking about how we can help them, because we are experts in both consumer products or OTC, as well as the 510K process. When it comes to testing, we believe it's essential for evaluating the performance and reliability of adhesive solutions. As much as we're experts, people reactions are different, their skin type are different, the way the device is different. There's so many things that go into it. We don't have a one size fits all, so we always encourage tremendous amount of clinical testing as well as on-body testing. And part of the testing is to identify potential issues and refinement before final product goes into production, leading to the path of 510K submissions, right? Prototypes are critical for regulatory compliance and meeting FDA requirements. We need to do a tremendous amount of testing in the prototype phase to rule out any adverse effects from the adhesive or the device itself. This provides necessary data and documentation that we're going to need when we do the 510K submission. Moving on to market readiness, really market readiness is ensuring that the products are ready for a commercial launch, that we understand that the designs we have come up with and created, the materials, the liners, everything that we're doing is actually going to be good and ready for production and production intent at scale, that it can be made within our facility or any partner's facility for production. Talking about expertise with the tape lab, we offer services on the front end and the back end. We have services including CAD design and developing functional prototypes, integrate technologies to meet the market specific needs, whether that's automated packaging or kitting, labeling, things that people don't think about on the front end, but we're always thinking about how can we take our widget, our patch, whatever it is we're making, and make sure that it gets to market for scalability. We think of all of these things within the prototype phase. Next, we'll talk about design and testing of the tape. Manufacturing and kitting or pouching. One thing I touched on with the prototypes is we always start thinking about the prototyping phase and moving into scale and into production. The prototyping phase helps us figure out what is manufacturable, what is not. We really look at different things to make sure that our end use customer has everything they need, and we answer all their questions in critical areas, such as selecting a manufacturing partner. Most of the time, our CMs or our customers aren't generally thinking about the adhesive until after the device is already in the integral phase with not much room for integration of the tape. A lot of the times that's a no-no. We always want to be involved on the front end, especially when selecting manufacturing partners. Whether we're doing consulting and it's going offshore or to another converter, we do want to make sure that the manufacturing partners have certain criteria. One is, the importance of the materials that are being used. Do the partners have expertise in medical grade manufacturing? Do they understand the whole 13485 compliance side of things? How are their quality assurance documentation practices? Are they adhering to strict quality standards set by ISO for 13485? Are they validating their certifications and capabilities? We also go into kitting and pouching. Do certain converters have the ability to do kitting and pouching as package integrity comes into play? Whether it's vacuum sealed bags that need to be pressure tested or boxes that need to be sealed, labeled, barcoded, unique identifications on there. There's a lot of converters out there, but not a lot of them who understand the medical process and what it takes to have a 13485 compliant product that theoretically, when it leaves their facility, can be put into market as a saleable product. We like to give a lot of support in that realm. Again, whether we are the converter of choice or we're just consulting and helping our end use customers, our expert support helps us recommend qualified manufacturing partners. An example would be we have some partners that are really good at screen printing inks, which then can be conductive inks put into devices like a heart monitor, as an example, where I have other partners who don't have that capability. So when we start talking with the end user to do manufacturing and kitting options with them, we can recommend the right sources for that based on our expertise and knowledge of the market. We also can assist in making sure that designs are optimal for both kitting and pouching. So that way, whoever it does go to knows that, hey, we can bring this in and we can keep it at a very reasonable rate based on the fact that the engineering was done up front to understand what needs for the market are. Some important reminders for manufacturing when selecting a partner are, clean room conditions, essential. These are essential for making sterile environments and preventing contamination and ensuring adherence to medical grade cleanliness standards. For the most part, devices that we work on are class 1 through 3 devices by the FDA standards and can be produced in an ISO 8 clean room, which used to be called the class 100,000. Another important reminder is tooling. Now, there's the importance of specialized tooling for precision manufacturing. Custom tooling capabilities are usually required. There's not a one size fits all for converting, and every part that we make or any of our partners or other converters make are generally unique to that specific customer. We also, it should go without saying that we make sure that we or whoever we partner with adheres to ISO 13485 or any relevant certifications. And then there's a rigorous quality control process in place at whatever CM or converter is out there making the product. Some of the benefits of working with us is we have a global network with diverse capabilities. As I had mentioned earlier, the screen printing of the inks is one example, but there's a wide range of techniques and expertise in our areas of converting, and we know where all the good converters are, we know where some of the mediocre guys are, and we know where some of the simple guys are. And it really is important to understand who you're getting in business with, because it does help make the process easier if you work with somebody like the Tape Lab who can recommend partners that we know have a long history of designing and manufacturing medical devices. Scalability is another important thing. There's a lot of people out there who work one shift, 10 hours a day, 8 hours a day, but don't have the capability to scale at a very high level. Tell you a story, we worked with one of the largest CGM manufacturers at my last company that we had sold, and we went from making 10,000 units a month to 1 million units a month, and then 5 million units a month. And we had to acquire new machinery at a third shift, bring in expertise, change the way we do our material handling. There's just things you have to start thinking about, especially if a device starts taking off quickly. How can you get to scale? These are things we have gone through at the Tape Lab. I have personally gone through, and I can usually cut stuff off before it gets to a point where it becomes so chaotic that it's uncontrollable. We have the expertise in understanding scalability in the manufacturing arena. I touched on this earlier, but certification and compliance. ISO 13485 is really a specific requirement needed for making and boxing, pouching, labeling medical devices, whether it's patches or the full assembly. You really need to understand the 13485 compliance and have somebody on the regulatory team that can help guide you through that, because it is a complex process. The FDA compliance really goes hand in hand with the 13485. We meet these standards with our partners by having rigorous quality controls, and we demand that of our partners. We implement strict protocols to maintain high quality standards within our partners' facilities, as well as our own. We have an experienced team, as do our partners. And I think that's so important when you're getting into designing, developing adhesives and adhesive patches for wearable devices or wound care, wound closure, you name it. Really an experienced team who understands the quality side of things, the manufacturing side, the materials that you're working with, how they're going to perform in and of the process of manufacturing and on the end user is very important. and the importance of compliance, the market trust. We have built millions, I would venture over 100 million wearable devices in terms of quantity and scale of the products we've designed in at certain manufacturers. We understand how to get through it and how to do it smoothly. We demonstrate a commitment to safety and quality for many years. And regulatory approval, we understand the 510(k) process probably better than anyone else on the market. That's why we do a tremendous amount of consulting for tier one and OEMs that are in this space. Talking a little bit about launch to market, this can be done in the front side. This is really more of an add-on kind of special bonus here about new product launches, and some of the things to think about if you're an end user is, define your niche, identify your target demographics and specific market needs. I always suggest conducting market research to refine product positioning in the market. Perfect example is CGM companies, and I think everyone knows who they are. The two big guys were going hard after type 1 diabetes, but there was a huge push in the metabolic health space for end users to monitor their own vitals, to monitor their glucose levels, and many other things that CGMs do behind the scenes. Well, if you're not a type 1 diabetic, in order to get one of these CGM devices, you had to go through a lot of rigmarole, as I like to say in my sloppy terms, to get the devices. The two big guys on the market got smart and they launched the OTC product, each one coming out within 30 days of one another, to really take up some of that space that they're giving away to other third parties right now for the constant glucose monitoring and some of the other features that go along with the CGMs for metabolic health. So that was a niche market that really wasn't thought of when the CGMs were developed many eons ago, but it is a niche market and a very profitable niche market for these third-party companies. And now the two big guys on the block are going to be taking advantage of that by selling their own product so people can monitor their own health. Some of the other watch outs that we talk about with market launches, product development, understanding the compliance, understanding the time that goes into that, understanding the prototype phases. And prototyping is not just one time. Prototyping can be 10, 20, 30 times until we get it right, until you have a robust product to get to market. We touched on regulatory approval. Depending on how much predicate device are out there in your space, that can take a very long time if you have to document necessary testing and validation. If there is no predicate device, we worked with one client for over 7 years for them to get their 510(k) approval, where others took 8, 9 months because there was a predicate in the space. So really need to do your homework on that before going into the game of medical device manufacturing. Product scalability, touched on that earlier as well, transitioning from prototypes or even small scale manufacturing to large scale manufacturing is an endeavor. You need to make sure you think through everything, whether it's how you run parts, 1 up or 2 across, 3 across, 4 across, multiple machines, multiple processes. It really does change when you start getting into tighter tolerance, higher volumes, and getting to scale. It goes without saying, but a lot of companies have a market and sales strategy when they think about launching. Are you selling directly to consumers? Are you selling directly to hospital networks? Are you selling through distribution to hospital networks? Developing and understanding these distribution and marketing channels is really key. And then finally is market entry. When you launch your new product, what is that going to look like? How are you going to gauge your response? How are you going to gauge your success? How are you gaining feedback? So that way, when you go to launch your second product, you can take all your lessons learned. Some more marketing information here. Talking about what the Tape Lab does and things we do outside the box. We aren't just the tape geeks. I love that. I'm okay being the tape geek, but we also do a lot of marketing. We are probably the premier marketer online for the go-to source for adhesives and technical information as regards to medical wearable devices. We pride ourselves on that, but we do a lot of marketing to you guys out there who are watching this today to make sure that you guys have all the pertinent information in front of you. So we try to give as much expertise and advice as we can, both on the 510(k) side, as well as the marketing of over-the-counter consumer product devices. Some pointers I will tell you from working with several clients in this area is, you figure out your distribution channel. It's really about identifying and leveraging various distribution channels, including wholesalers, retailers, and direct-to-consumer models. Having and forming strategic partnerships with healthcare providers and distributors to healthcare providers is really key. You can have the best widget on the planet, but if you don't have a good sales force to tell the right people that are buying it, it's going to go nowhere. Utilizing online platforms, e-commerce platforms such as Shopify and for direct sales, Amazon for consumer products, implementing effective online marketing strategies to reach a wider audience is super key on the consumer product side. Once again, you can't just make a widget, build a website, and expect people to run in and buy you out. There's a lot of marketing that goes on. Your COGS are one thing, actual marketing dollars spent and the right marketing approach, depending on your end use clients, is super key. A lot of things we do to help go-to market strategies for end use customers is, we help our clients. This is more on the consumer product side, but we help them with comprehensive planning in terms of, how do you get all of your advertising put together? What kind of product pictures are you going to need? What kind of product data? What kind of safety data are you going to need? What kind of biocompatibility data do you need? What kind of FAQs are you going to put out there? What are you going to put out there to answer the questions of the end use customer? We help them with their go-to market needs and developing tailor-made solutions for them. We also ensure seamless integration with launch plans, especially on the distribution side. When we make a product for companies, sometimes we're shipping it 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 locations, depending on where the distribution centers are. And then market analysis, after you launch a product on the consumer side, how do you know if it's successful? What are you doing to identify the target demographics and the demand cycle for your product? We try to provide insights on the competitive positioning or market entry if it's something we're really passionate about and something we have experience in. Lastly, I really want to talk about what it means to partner with the Tape Lab. We are there for your support for development, manufacturing, and launch. We don't use the word consulting too often. We really call it developmental help, but it is consulting in the traditional sense by helping give you guys advice and help you get to market faster and the right way. We offer comprehensive development support, expertise in designing skin-safe adhesive solutions, and assistance with your prototyping, your testing, and your regulatory compliance. We also have manufacturing excellence. We have access to a global network of specialized manufacturing partners for every kind of wearable device you can think of, as well as consumer products device. And we can help you do it at a very reasonable cost, with most of the expertise being done by us, and you guys are the ones marketing it and getting it out to the space out there. And we also have seamless launch assistance. We develop tailored go-to-made strategies for you. So when you start manufacturing at scale, we can help build and grow with you as you grow. We can also help support you, as I mentioned a minute ago, with the marketing, distribution, and post-launch monitoring. Here's some of my contact information. We always invite you to reach out to us directly. Our phone number is there, along with our website and our email. And if you're ever in beautiful Dana Point, California, please stop in and say hello. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our blueprint for success. I wish you all the best. Take care.